Good evening, Angus and our BQB fans. Welcome to episode 20 of our shit posting nonsense garble. Have you got a beer, Angus?
I do. I'm slumming it this week. I've got a Praga Premium Czech Pills.
Ooh,
I went to the bottle shop and I was trying to find some beer and there had nothing in there and I saw this carton of dodgy European beer for $65. 24 pack, 440 ml beers. Can't go past that.
that'll do the trick.
Well,
Well,
what do you got?
I found the Breakfast of Champions from Shapeshifter. We spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, where a bunch of brewers and personalities all got together and threw in their favorite cereals into the mash. Um, Things like Cocoa Pops and Special K and Crunchy Nut Cornflakes and Milo and uh, Nutri-Grain, Fruit Loops, everything like that. How about this for a list of breweries, though? So, of course, there was Shapeshifter, Big Shed, Bowden Brewing, Bridge Road Brewing, Bright Star Brewing, King River, Loophole, Mismatch, Pikes, Range, 612, Suburban, Tiny Fish, Uradler, Wool Store, and Yellow Matter. So nearly more breweries there than you can even think of having all at once. So I'll try it and see what it's like.
Sounds like a bit of a dog's breakfast, pun intended.
Um, it's just it's slightly sweet. One of those cereals must have berry in it. There's a little bit of berry in there, but just a nice smooth milk stout. It's 5.5%. Um, there's a little bit of roasted malt in there. I don't know if any of the flavors from any of those cereals had a chance to impart much flavor, but it's a little bit of a sweetness and there's a hint of a berry in there. That's really nice. But I like brewers having fun, and I'm sure they had a really fun brew day, and throwing all that stuff into the mash is a bit of fun, like I said.
Yeah, it's a bit silly.
Yeah, we don't mind a bit silly though, do we? Speaking of silly, it was great to see a post from Lockie Crothers today sharing um, a bit more news about his fresh as fucking fuck beers coming soon. You even suggested a name for the first drop, with so many of the brewing community not noticing, recognizing him without his huge trademark facial hair.
Yeah, I actually had to get a photo of. I had his profile photo still as the beard. I pulled that up next to the one with no beard, and even then, I'm like, I don't know, if it's the same person.
Yeah. Well, apparently he hasn't had his beard for 3 years, but um, obviously it's been over 3 years since I've seen him. He had quite a decent beard covering last time I saw him, so it must have been a few years for sure. But
Yeah, it was massive.
yeah, sounds like as we predicted, it's going to be like a direct to consumer um, model, perhaps subscription based, like Evil Mega Corporation from Reese over in WA does a similar thing. Um, so yeah, he does. He did explain that it's an absolute piss take. His fluorescent cans and shirts and website. So yeah.
White
Um,
space, trauma-inducing coloring.
oh look, it's painful if you look up the website. Tomorrow is a Flano for a Farmer Day, and it's all proceeds from Traveller Beer are going to Farm Angels helping farmers in need. Of course, Traveller's owned by Andy from MasterChef and Travis, who you probably better know from Vikings or Boy Swallows Universe. Um, it's not a bad idea. I like it when breweries, get behind good causes like that. So if you're around somewhere that's celebrating by a traveller and wear your flanos tomorrow, that's if you're listening to this tonight. Otherwise, wear it today or you've missed it. But either way, Farm Angels is a charity that you can always donate to anyway. Yeah. You had something about the Goulburn Brewery.
Yeah, so apparently there's a really historical brewing site in Goulburn that's recently just opened their doors. So it's been a 2 year planning process from Neil Cameron. He sounds a bit like New South Wales version of Hendo.
Yep.
He wrote up the TAFE brewing course and head brewer at the Sydney Beer Awards. So this is 2 year project, and they've got brand new brewery in there, and I've opened the doors. So it sounds pretty cool. And then the site itself is stunning, like really old classic um, sandstone buildings, like really, really kind of playing back to the early building styles of Australia. So probably a pretty cool brewery to go to.
Yeah, Goulburn reminds me a lot of Armidale, where I grew up. It's um, that sort of cold English architecture, big oak and elm trees everywhere. So yeah, it'd be really cool to see that one. Yeah.
Yeah, another thing I had was if for all our Canberra listeners, Cypher Brewing have a Chaos Realm 2 Dark Beer Festival this weekend. So it's all dark beers and dark entertainment. So I think they're kind of doing like a fantasy lore weekend. So I'm not exactly sure what that means, but those mentions of witches and cauldrons and so that sounded pretty cool. So some of the beers, Cypher is serving up their Barrel Aged Imperial Stout. Dangerous Ales have a maple bourbon aged stout.
Yum.
Seeker Brewing have a dark pastry cherry sour. And finally, Capital Brewing will be pouring their Lamington Nitro stout. So some really interesting beers. So if I was in Canberra, I'd be getting along to that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I haven't been to Cypher, but considering you've got Bent Spoke and Capital uh, in Canberra, the fact that there's room for another brewery to come in like Cypher and start off so well just proves that the market there is quite healthy, looking after their local breweries the way they do, and the fact that they make great beers doesn't hurt either.
Yeah, yeah.
And you had something about an
Um,
igulu.
yeah, that Googly, I've heard of it before. I did some reading on it about a year ago. So they're launching sales in Australia in through JB Hi-Fi for $1,000. So it's a smart personal brewing and serving system. So you can buy their recipe kits and you like scan a QR code on it and tells the machine the ferment schedule and CO2 pressures and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that sounds pretty cool. Apparently there's a master mode where you can control the mash temps all yourself and ferment temps and all that sort of thing. So you get 3.5 liters at the end. So I think I'll be keeping my 7 liter brewing system and 19 liter kegs. I don't know if 3.5 liters of beer is worth the effort, but I mean it's nice to see some homebrew products in a more public showing than local homebrew stores or internet forums and things. So interesting that JB Hi-Fi and think there's a market for it.
Yeah, because we saw a lot of brew art, I think it was a couple of years ago, and they had
Yeah,
a range of little all-in-one systems that, like, yeah, similar, only sub 5 liters of beer produced, but it was literally uh, set and forget sort of thing for home brew. Um, it's interesting. I don't know how you wouldn't be able to do grain. It'd all be work
yeah,
kits or something like that, wouldn't it?
yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh well, I might have to look into that. That sounds interesting. But $1,000, 3.5 liters of beer, that's not going to go very far, is it?
Yeah, it'll take a while to get your return on investment.
Yeah.
But it's funny, these things pop up whenever there's a kind of the doom and gloom and Interest rates haven't gone up, but I guess cost of living going up. There's always these ideas kind of pop up, and people go gangbusters on them for a year, and then you find all the cheap stuff going on eBay or marketplace because they're sick of it.
Working in a liquor retailer, whenever CPI hits 1st of Feb, 1st of August, cask wine sales. People go, oh, I can't afford beer. I'll just go and get 8 liters of wine instead. And then it tapers off after about a week, and they go back to grabbing their beer that was, $1 or $2 more a case. It's so predictable. You can nearly order for it that
Yeah.
people's drinking habits change whenever there's an influx of tax news or people panic buy on the day before, and because there's been a story on Channel 7 News or something like that saying your prices are going to go up tomorrow, and yeah, people panic buy.
It's a special kind of person that can live on cask wine.
Yeah, no, I don't. Some people do. That's not my jam.
Mm.
Sailor's Grave at Dunetown.
Yeah, last time I came across this one. The brewery itself, Sailor's Grove, has been open since 2016, so they're very well established. But the two owners have been kicking around the idea of a kind of an all-encompassing farmhouse brewery with food being served and beer matching, and thanks to some Victorian government funding, they kicked that idea off, and so that's opened earlier this year. But I still thought it was worth a mention. So that's Junetown was the place that they created. So at the moment, they're the only business on site, but their plan is to get other small kind of passion projects and manufacturing projects in the hub as well. And that's
Mm.
kind of fitting with their vision of the hub being for other kind of smaller ideas and projects and giving them a space to flourish.
Yeah.
And the beers they've got sound really nice. Let me read this. There was a lemon meringue cream sour and a sea salt and seaweed goza, Southern red ale. All beers which are right up my alley. And then they've got your standard mid-strength lagers and hazies and um, pale ales, IPAs, that sort of thing. Uh, Unfortunately, only pick up in Melbourne or at the brewery itself, so no shipping.
I'm sure I've seen Sailor's Grave. I'm sure I've tried a couple of their beer. I'm pretty sure they were dark beers that I've tried of those, which would make sense for them to be distributed as far north.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, and really cool can artwork is if I can remember too. They had some, sort of every can tells a story sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, some good stories behind their beers. Yeah, and that was one of the things I also really push with their beers is that it has to start with an idea based in the community or an event that happened or a story or so they're really strongly focused on that kind of local community and um, providing an environment for other businesses to do well as well. So
interesting.
sounded pretty cool.
Yes. And you found that Newstead Brewing no longer in business, but it sounds like their website's been hijacked.
Yeah, I was looking for beer news and this news set came up. I'm like, oh, that's weird. What do they have to talk about? And I looked at the search result in Google, and it was talking about like dinner wines and pairing. I'm like, what? So I opened it up, and yeah, it's been completely hijacked by a wine blogger. So there's wine choices and how to match wine with your meals, and nothing beer related at all. So I don't know what's happened there. It's a bit strange.
Just using the traffic.
Yeah,
Um,
but
uh,
sure, people would go there and go, "Oh, there's no beer stuff here. See ya."
yeah,
Exactly like I did.
yeah, but it probably still counts as a tick or something if they're.
Clicks or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I had that Hiker have renamed their East Brisbane site as EB by Hiker, new branding and everything like that. Uh,
Yep.
that sounds pretty cool. Bit of modern branding. Maybe people weren't resonating with the hiker story in that site. So, um, watch this space. That looks cool. And your mates turns 10 today. It popped up on my feed. And sort of goes along the story of how they grew and, going on Shark Tank or our version of it. And um, the crowdfunding investment, how Larry has got in the Gabs Hottest 100, and how they got the bowling club and renamed it Crackerjack and things like that. Really cool story. Haven't seen too much of their beers of late, but I still reckon Barry was the best beer they ever did. They did a Russian Imperial Stout called Barry, and I think it was had coconut in it too or something. It was a really nice drop.
Yeah, I think I had that in the brewery when I don't know, I stayed up the North Coast.
Yeah,
Went into the brewery there. I'm pretty sure I got Barry.
yeah.
What was the IPA?
Sally.
Yeah, I knew it was a lady's name. I just couldn't remember what it was. Sally. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was nice as well.
yeah. No, and there's been Macca and um, Tilly is the ginger beer. Yeah, so they've all their beers have got cool Aussie names. Some of them have been voted. Some of them are people they know, things like that. So yeah.
I
Um,
I would not have said 10 years if you asked me how old they were.
yeah. Well, I
I would have
had
said 5 years,
I had something
6 years
pop
maybe.
up on my feed the other day, and it was the original Larry Can. It was 8 years ago that I posted it. So um,
Yeah.
it's really quite interesting. Speaking of really interesting beers that have been around for longer, I actually had a brewery reach out to me this week, and we're going to try and maybe next week have them on the pod talking about their beers. And I was going through how I remember coming across their beers, and there was one beer, and it would be nearly 20 years old now, and I just was like, I can't imagine what the industry was so different 20 years ago, and they're still kicking. So, and I'm just leaving that dangle there for you to try and figure out. I'm not going to tell you who it is. Um, and for
And
our
also our
listeners,
7 listeners.
and our listeners can have a guess. Probably their most popular beer would be must have been released about 18 years ago. So Queensland Brewery. Um, but yeah, hopefully we'll get them on for a little chat next week. Talk about what they're doing. So that'll be pretty cool for us. We'll have to actually write down some questions and pretend that we're semi-professional. So
Yeah, have to be less shit. That's too much pressure.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we want to go down this route, do we?
I'll
But no, it
try
was
that
really,
once.
it was really
See how
nice.
bad it is.
Yeah, I've just got to listen to some of our other episodes and make sure I haven't bagged them out before, um, because that'd be a bit embarrassing if I said something bad about them on one of the earlier episodes. Um, oh well, we'll. I guess I'll find out next week if I can tee it up. But
Yeah,
maybe
cool.
jump on the Facebook page and perhaps pop in if your guesses or something like that. It might be a good idea. And the last thing I had, did you have anything else?
No, that was it.
Yep. Only a short one tonight, but the last one I had was just a reminder about the United We Ride on September 6th. Every dealership in Australia for Harley Davidson and New Zealand raising funds for the Salvation Army. I'm jumping on the ride from Gasoline Alley, Slacks Creek. You can donate at uwr.me/Luke Cooper 696020. And any donation over $2 is tax deductible. If you want to join the ride, we actually have the route. We are going to ride out to Queensland Raceway, and you have the opportunity to cut some laps on the QR track too, which is a bit of fun if you want to scrape your pegs and have a couple of laps around the racetrack. So, Are you going to get your tyres fixed in time?
Yeah, we got the van service and it needed two new tires, so that wiped out my funds. So maybe I'll throw some tires on the credit card and make the ride.
Yeah, I think this ride, I think there's about 40 so far who've joined up, but I think there was one in Perth. They had about 70, and then there's some smaller dealerships, that are doing, 10 to 20 members. But I think it's a really good thing, and raising money for salvos are really good. So if you can donate, great. If you can come along, even better. So yeah, United We Ride is the website you need to look for, and it's day before Father's Day, so um, let Dad go and have a ride, and then shower him with gifts on the next day.
Nice. Are there really 696,020 Luke Coopers that have signed up? Is that the number after your name?
It was a bit of a random number, wasn't it? I strongly doubt it. Yeah, I don't know how that number generator did it, but yeah, I doubt there would be that many of people with that name. I know there's a Formula. This is just a Formula Ford racer in the UK who's Luke Cooper, and he sometimes gets beer news, and I sometimes get car racing news, which doesn't bother me because I like car racing, but I don't think they're designed for me.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
sounds
Well,
cool. I'm
yeah,
trying to get along to that.
yeah. And I'll try and organise this guest next week. That'll be something different anyway. Apart
Yeah,
from to us, gas on, we might actually have a proper podcast where we ask questions to proper people and not just gas bag ourselves.
that's a bit too much pressure, maybe. No, it'll be good.
That's why
It'll
I'm
be
not
good.
going to tell you who it is. There you go. I'll write some questions down, and you sit there and look pretty. How's that sound?
Leave me in the dark.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you might have to use a bit more wax on the mow. Yeah. All righty, folks. Thanks for listening. Catch you next week.
We'll do.
Thanks, Angus. Catch you next week.
All right. Thanks, Luke. See ya.
Bye.